someone who's had health issues, for example, we can go to the origin of the thought process with the health issue through regression work. Something that may manifest in our 50s may have been a thought that occurred when we were 5 or 6 or 10 or 12. Okay? And a lot of times, by the way, I'll have people that regress to situations that are outside the family dynamics. A lot of times we think it has all to do with mom and dad. It doesn't have all to do with mom and dad. Sometimes the perpetrator in a family is a brother or a sister, okay? And sometimes there can be situations with a teacher or a neighbor that contributes to us holding on to old issues. So sometimes a true memory is a false memory, even though it's true to you. And so when you are raised in the same family with your brother and your sister, and your brother and your sister says, remember, mom or dad was like this, and you say, no, I don't remember, mom and dad weren't like that at all to me. That's because mom and dad are different to each child as per where you are aligned in the family. And so memories are very, very interesting and tricky little things. So an innocent memory of a rainy day where the teacher went by and didn't pick up the kids, and she went home and said, Mama, I'm cold. And the next day the teacher embarrassed her in front of the group, stayed in her subconscious mind in a way in which Francine doesn't always feel safe to extend herself in friendships. It's as simple as that. So you can imagine how other kinds of trauma work.
Do you remember what was discussed?
Yeah, I remember what she asked me.
Does it feel different than now being awake and remembering than it did when you were going through that?
Yeah, I felt very heavy when she was asking the question.
Your voice changed too. And I noticed that each time that you go to a child, the voice changes.
Always. The higher power, the subconscious mind always refers to you in the third party also. So when I've got somebody under hypnosis and I'm talking to their higher power or their subconscious mind, I say, subconscious mind of Francine, can you hear me? Well, for her, she didn't know who she was angriest with. But somebody usually will say, his father or her father. They won't say my father. Or they'll say, she thinks this or she does that to me when I'm talking to the subconscious mind. That's how I know I have the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind always refers to you in the third party. It never refers to you in the I am. Okay? Then when we skip to the inner child stuff, then it goes back into the I am. Most everybody's voice changes. Emotion wells up inside of you under hypnosis quickly in ways in which you don't recognize. A lot of people are crying when they connect to their inner child, getting emotion they don't expect to get. And actually, hypnosis is about emotionalizing what we've already intellectualized anyway, clearing it from the emotional body rather than the mental body. Most of us know pretty much what happened during the course of our childhood. I don't necessarily believe in repressed memory. I think memories we can disassociate in certain ways, and we all do disassociate in certain ways. We disassociate over trauma and so on. It's being in shock when we're in a funeral and all those kinds of things. It's a level of disassociation. We can certainly disassociate from our inner child in certain ways, but there's really not always a repression. Now, there can be more details of memory when you're under hypnosis, but it doesn't mean that the memory is repressed. So usually somebody that has repressed memory really doesn't, even though they think they do, okay? The only time that they would have real repressed memories is if the disassociation became a disorder, which is then called DID, dissociative identity disorder, which is multiple personality disorder. In my career as a hypnotherapist, I've only had 3 true multiples come to see me.